What's up, guys? This is Wes with Sincity Tactical, and we've got Jackson Griff, the Minnesota Overlanders, on today. This is our Labor Day special live stream podcast. So, Jax is going to get the audio side for the anchor going right now. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Wes? How's it going?
Hey.
Good. Good.
That's awesome.
So, on the agenda today, it's that Labor Day special. I know all of us got day-to-day jobs tomorrow, which too bad this holiday doesn't run for more than one day, you know. But first things first, we're going to go ahead and give a shout out to SincityTactical.xyz or MinnesotaOverlanders.xyz. Go on there, cop that merch, get yourself shirts, jackets, coffee mugs, hats. Get yourself some gear. I know we would all appreciate it. It helps keep the channels going, gives us the ability to get better equipment and make better content for you guys. So go ahead and give that a look on the website. And if you have any questions, give either one of us direct messages. All right. And then, of course, you can also check us out on Anchor at Minnesota Overlanders podcast, or you can find it on Apple Podcast, Spotify. I'm actually going to let Jax go ahead and give you where you can find that stuff at.
Yeah, definitely. So as Wes was saying, you can find it on Anchor. You can find it on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, pretty much any other platform you can get your podcasts at. It's there. So definitely check that out for the audio side of things. A couple of shout outs I wanted to give out to throw in the YouTube channel I forgot yesterday, Heavy Duty Country. They definitely have some interesting content up there on their channel as well. So go over there, follow them. Hit the Sincity Tactical like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get all the content here on YouTube for you guys. And then the other thing, go ahead and, like Wes said, check out the website, copy some merch. We all would appreciate it.
I know. Sorry, my kid doesn't understand that when a live stream is going to not interrupt. So I do apologize for that. But yeah, like Jack said, check all that stuff out so you can be more involved with everything that we've got going on. So our first agenda topic for the day is going to be range safety and etiquette. Go ahead, take that away.
So, as per a long-running tradition, every holiday me and my father go out to the gun range and spend an adequate amount of time laying down some love downrange. And what I saw today makes me really want to drive home the proper knowledge of range safety and range etiquette. When we got to the range, there was a woman who appeared to be about in her 70s, accompanied by a younger man, I'd have to say about 30 or so. And it looked like the guy handed the woman a gun that she's never handled before. She'd never even heard of a gun and just told her to shoot.
That is not
so. One of the most basic things we all learn to do is how to hold a handgun properly. Well, instead of doing the regular Weaver-style grip, she proceeds to hold her .357 revolver with one hand, and it wasn't even the old FBI grip. Halfway down her forearm, elbow resting on the bench. Every single time she'd shoot, this thing would start whipping side to side, and she couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So I just stayed off the entire firing line and said, screw it, I'm not going to put my life in danger. The guy had different ideas. He proceeded to pull out a cheap Rock Island 1911 out of his bag. And when he went to unload it, he proceeded to point it right at the woman, drop the magazine, and when he pulled the slide back, sure enough, there was a round in the chamber. So this man was pointing a loaded weapon at this woman.
Yeah.
The entire time I felt like a long-legged or a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair warehouse. In fact, I think the cat probably would have felt better.
Yeah, that's scary, not just that he was flagging the person that he was with, or the fact that she didn't know how to shoot and you hand her something as powerful as what she had in her hands. Obviously, we kind of touched on this in a previous podcast, but for me, if you're going to teach somebody how to shoot, you start with a 22, whether it be like a Walther P22 or like a Smith & Wesson 22 LR Sport, like AR style rifle or something.
I always use a Browning Buckmark myself.
Yeah. And that's something good to start with. You don't put something like that in somebody's hands. And then on top of it, you go and you flag somebody with a loaded weapon, right? That's a problem all day long. So to touch on your range safety and etiquette stuff, the USCCA, which is that concealed carry insurance that we've talked about before. Like I said, I'm an elite member through them, and I'm quite proficient with all of my firearms and stuff. And on there, I'm actually,
I'm only a platinum member.
Yeah, no, I had to go all the way. They have their e-learning services on there too. So not only are you getting, insurance stuff, you're also getting e-learning, so you can learn firearm safety, dry fire safety. I'm actually taking a class right now on becoming a range safety officer. Not that I need it, but it's added training for me to have, to keep in my tool bag.
Yeah, in fact, I was talking with my carry instructor not too long ago, and once this coof quits going around and they start opening up training classes more across the nation, I'm planning on going for my concealed carry instructor course when I don't have to fly half across the country to take it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's my problem.
Well, and didn't you say, Griff, that the guy was supposedly ex-military?
Which guy?
The guy at the range.
I can't say for certain, but the guy had the air about him of, you have to respect me. I served in Iraq. I mean, I clean the latrines and, bobbed on the master sergeant, but you have to respect me regardless. Very uptight.
Well, bobbing on the master sergeant is probably the biggest reason he was flagging everybody.
But let's not go there.
Himself. Yeah. Range safety is just one of those big things, right? And the rules are posted everywhere. Any actual range that you go to, they're everywhere. 9 times out of 10, at least out here in Vegas, if you go to a range for the first time, they make you sign a waiver. And then they also make you either watch like a video class or stand with an instructor if it's your first time and they don't have documentation of you coming to that range. Like there's a place out here called the Las Vegas Shooting Complex. I've been there a couple times, and they know that I've been there a couple times. And even if I bring somebody with me, if they've never physically been there, they're going to make them go through like a 20-minute video of range safety and etiquette. And of course, then they also have, the range masters that are walking up and down and trying to make sure that everybody's being safe. But the biggest thing that you can do, A, don't bring guns in your bag that are already loaded. Clear them at the house first. B, put your bag or whatever in the stall or wherever you're at and lay all of your guns out with muzzles downrange. Less opportunity to cause harm to anybody. And of course, at that time, normally if it's a big like open range where you have to go physically walk down range and set up a target, they won't even let you take your guns out of your bags until, they have called it to where nobody's shooting and nobody goes down range. So then everybody can be safe.
Yeah. And, depending on the range that you're at, another thing you could do is when you're laying it out muzzle down range, if it's a AR-15 platform style rifle or, AK platform, lock the bolt to the rear. Handgun, if it's a, regular semi-automatic pistol, lock your slide to the rear, or revolver, just open the cylinder up and doubly verify that there's not one in the chamber or one in the cylinder.
Someone hasn't shot AKs that much.
Right.
Yeah, what bolt lock jacks?
No, yeah.
Can you find it for me?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
suppose you can't do that with the
jam
AK,
something in the action.
Yeah, I suppose you can't really lock the bolt to the rear on the AK, but at least rack it once, hold it back, and make sure nothing falls out.
You know what my favorite barrel flag is, or chamber flag is for my AK? A 410 shotgun shell that's already been spent.
There you go. I'd use a pen.
That too. I like the yellow 410 shells on the black gun. So visually, I can tell right away that it's in a safe position and it's downrange. And even then, the AR platforms, sometimes they come with them when you buy them, or you can buy them from the store, specific little flags that you can put in the chambers. But if you don't have access to it, like you said, you can use a pen. You can pick up a piece of brass that's spent and use that if you really had to. I don't obviously recommend doing that because it could look like you have a failure to feed, and that a range safety officer might jump on you for that. But use some sort of flagging mechanism to where anybody who's in your group or anybody walking by can tell that that firearm is in a safe manner. You know what I mean? And then, of course, don't keep the magazine in it. Magazine's separate from the firearm. Or if it's, single shot bolt action, you just leave your bolt open and don't put a round in until you're ready to shoot.
Exactly.
Yep.
So when it comes to range safety, let's talk about that a little bit, and etiquette, right? We kind of talked about the different stereotypes or the different personas of range people, right? You've got the guy kind of like you talked about that, I'm Billy Badass and, I'm the best shooter out here. The, hey, look at me while I shoot guy. Or you have the speed shooter, which wants to shoot 1,000 rounds per minute at all times. And then you have the, the guy who's there for Instagram photos only and never actually takes a shot. But, oh, look at me, I'm taking a picture with a gun, guy. And then you have the actual true ones that want to learn, right? That are trying to learn, and they get disturbed by all these different characteristics and personas by people who show up at the range.
I do want to quickly shout out a YouTube channel now that we're talking about stereotypes. Polnar Tactical, sorry. Polenar Tactical. They've got 2 videos up of stuff you see on the range. And it's just a complete gaffe, joke of exactly that, range stereotypes.
Yep. Colio Noir also has a stereotypes video for people who go to the range and have, different personas. And it's true. Like, these videos are made to be jokes, but they really happen. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to indoor ranges and just got to the point where I was like, you know what? They're not for me. I don't want to be surrounded by all these different people. I'd rather go off and do my own thing by myself.
Well, it's like the very first podcast you guys had me on for. That day when I brought a coworker out to the range, I saw one of those Boog boys out with his Hawaiian shirt and his plate carrier and all that.
What? You don't like Boogaloo setups? Man.
hey, that it's great, but gear is one aspect. You have to balance out with tactics and physical fitness and stuff like that. Oh, one-legged chair doesn't stand.
Well, I mean, not even just that, but there's a time and a place for a Hawaiian shirt, and a Hawaiian shirt with a plate carrier definitely doesn't mix.
Unless it's on Call of Duty.
Yes.
Yeah, and if the Hawaiian shirt has upside-down pineapples, you don't talk to me. Because the people that know what that's all about, I don't want to deal with you. I'm a monogamist myself.
Feel you on that. It's crazy though, going to ranges. It's not like it used to be, where you go to the range, you take accurate shots, and every shot is calculated. You're trying to get the best grouping and everything else. Out here in Vegas, I don't know if they have these type of experiences out in Minnesota, but we have a lot of machine gun experiences out here. So basically, every range now has fully automatic weapons, where tourists can show up, pay $150, and shoot 3 different fully automatic rifles. And it's like, I'm here to actually shoot. I'm a local. I'm trying to hone my skills. And then you got people who've never shot a gun in their life, get a fully automatic put in their hands, and then they're just, pulling the trigger and holding it to shoot as fast as you can. Well, I mean, of course, part of the training and stuff like that is learning how to deal with the background noise and keeping your wits about you when you're shooting. But it's really annoying when you're in a 12-bay indoor range and it's not the biggest thing in the world, and all you hear is straight machine gun fire and you can't think.
Yep.
Well, almost all of our indoor ranges have that sort of service, but I don't believe any of our outdoor ranges do. I'm trying to think of oh yes, Battlefield Vegas over down in your area, where it's nothing but machine gun rental.
Yep.
I believe every state should have something like that. That way, if you want to itch that machine gun finger, you can go out to a specific place designed specifically for that and do it. But leave all the other ranges alone for the people that actually want to train and practice, or even just relax.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
For me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, Wes. Definitely a stress reliever. There's nothing like getting into, that mindset when you're on the range. All right, well, it's been a shitty fucking week. Let's dump about 2 or 3 megs down range and just let out some of that pent up aggression.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on to the next topic. Moral of that story is stay safe, get proper safety training first, and enjoy the range. Don't treat it like a war zone. The next topic that we've got, and this is coming from Jax, gun violence involving Antifa.
Yes, sir. So, me and Griff were talking about this briefly last night. So, for starters, Antifa was at the Sturgis rally, I'm sure, as most of us have heard if you're paying attention to the news. However, shortly before Sturgis, Antifa decided they were going to make their way on into Oregon. And the thing is they say they're peacefully protesting. Now, riddle me this here. If you're peacefully protesting, you're usually just holding signs, chanting, maybe standing outside of a government capitol building, trying to get legislative to change things. So how does getting into a disagreement with somebody whose political view differs than you are, and you just decide, well, to solve this topic here, I'm just going to pull my fancy handgun out of my holster and shoot the guy dead. So to touch more on that, for a little bit of background for people that don't know, there was the incident that took place between the Antifa member It's still currently under investigation, but they ended up killing a supporter of President Donald Trump on Saturday in Portland, Oregon, which would have been the 4th of August. And when it really comes down to it, it says here the left-wing protest movement has resorted to violence measures in the past in opposition to right-wing extremist groups, but has stopped short of lethal tactics.
You said right-wing extremist groups.
Yes, that's what the media painted that as. So, here's my opinion on this. And
So
this is where things kind of get a little misconstrued, but go ahead, Griff.
I just want to quickly clarify here. We're talking about the Antifa guy that shot Aaron Danielson.
Yep, that is correct.
All right.
So now here's my thing. All right. The biggest thing is they're pissed off because they're being viewed as a terror or domestic terrorist group. Yet their actions pretty much fit the category. But no, we're just peacefully protesting. We want this and that to change. I'm sorry, but that kind of goes back to our gun violence topic from the last podcast. Just because, people in those groups go out and do stupid shit like that doesn't mean that that's the overall general pro-Second Amendment, law-abiding CCW permit-holding citizenship of America. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter, what race you are, what your political, religious background, beliefs are. Don't go out there and say you're peacefully protesting if you're out there shooting and killing people.
I do want to quickly interrupt here. From the Merriam-Webster. Terrorism. Noun. Definition: terrorism. The systematic use of terror, especially as means of coercion. I don't know about you two, but when you're out there setting fires to buildings, attempted firebombing of police officers, and shooting people in the head to further your political agenda, that seems like using terror as a form of coercion to me.
Yeah, and I was just about to touch on that. Especially with all the rioting going on lately. As a country, okay, we're divided because of a good majority of the media's shit that they post. Now, the biggest problem there is we're all American, right? I don't care what your skin color is, what your religious belief is. We're all American. So then riddle me this. Why the hell are Americans burning down, destroying, defacing historical monuments all over something as small as, the race thing, or slavery happened fucking thousands and thousands of years ago. I mean, let's date it back. At the end of the fucking day, all that shit's in the past. We're all American. We're all human, not to be an ass to any of those groups physically, but let me just riddle this down to the cold hard facts. Let's say there was a white American, African American, Latin American, and Asian American with a Native American. And each one of them got shot or stabbed. What color is coming out of them?
Red.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are all a bunch of fucking skin and bones. Human race, not fucking color race. So basically my agenda here with this topic is groups like that quit being fucking idiots, all right? God gave you one of these for a fucking reason. Use it.
Right. So
we all need to band together as a country and stop all of this bullshit.
Right. So to add to the news that you just said about Aaron Danielson, he was 39 years old and he was shot in downtown Portland on August 29th. Supporters of the of President Trump and of the Black Lives Matter movement clashed in the city. It says on Thursday, federal law enforcement officers investigating Danielson's death fatally shot Michael Forrest Ranoli. He was 48 years old, a vowed supporter of Antifa. They found him after locating him in Lacey, Washington. It says earlier that day, Portland police obtained a second-degree murder warrant for Ranoli in connection with Danielson's death. Authorities said the operation in Lacey was led by personnel from the FBI and the U.S. Marshals Service. Authorities said afterward the warrant reportedly followed Ranoli's appearance in a video posted on the Vice website in which he discussed firing a weapon in Portland during the evening, and that that Danielson was shot. So not only did this dumbass go and do what he did, he went and basically live streamed about it after the fact, which completely blows my mind. And it, like we talked about in the other podcast, it's one of those things where, these groups are not looking at the bigger picture here. They're just going completely from one extreme to the other, right? There is no in between. The peaceful protests of back in the day is no longer a thing. I'm sorry, but if you line up 90 people in the middle of a street and you're blocking traffic, you're not being peaceful. You're creating animosity, you're creating tension, and you're making a hostile environment. Now, if I'm just driving home, and that happened here in Vegas when all these riots and stuff first started happening, people were blocking roads on the strip, like really, really bad. And it got to the point that, people were like pushing their cars through people because people would surround the car and start bashing out windows. That's not peaceful. What am I supposed to do at that point? Do I sit there and let you bash out all my windows and then try to drag me out of the car just because I happen to be driving down the wrong road? You don't know if I'm supporting Trump or if I'm supporting the police officers doing whatever they did. You have no idea who I am. But the fact that I'm driving down the road and I happen to come across you guys, you're going to vandalize my stuff and start attacking me. What if I was on the other side and I was, on your side and I was part of the protesting and all that stuff? Now you're just blindly attacking me because you have rage and animosity built up. This is not the purge. I'm pretty sure they didn't put that into law.
Say, Wes,
Yeah.
I sent you a link to your email, and it's linked to an image that encapsulates what I believe all three of us want to happen, and it'd be nice if you could pull it up on screen.
Let's see.
And if anything, we can get a good laugh out of it.
I am trying to get it up. Let me see. I've only got pictures of some gun logos.
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those coexist bumper sticker style things.
Oh, yes, that is what it is. You got Glock, Beretta, Springfield, Smith & Wesson, Mossberg, and a couple others that you're going to have to educate me on.
Hey, no problem. Figure it's we've all seen the religious symbol coexist thing, but let's bring it into our group. Nice little two-way community.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. We just need to be able to coexist. And I don't think the pro 2A community is the problem. I feel like it's anybody that's outside of that community is trying to shun us. Like, I don't have a problem with anybody. You do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm not stopping you from doing what you want to do. But why is it that because my outlooks are different than yours, now instantly I'm a bad guy and you're trying to shun me from society?
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
earlier today, me and my father were joking around saying that all gun owners are evil and they're the devil. And yet, we ran into our buddy John at the range, and it just so happens that we're short on 45s for the Glock match. And we know John reloads 45 ACP. And as anyone knows, you can't find handgun ammunition on shelf, so we asked him, "Hey John, can you sell us 100 rounds of 45?" He said, "No, I'll just give them to you." Like, dude, that's like $50 worth of ammo. "No, I'll just give it to you." And I swear he'd knock our teeth out if we even tried to offer him money. Because that's such an evil thing to do.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole thing. That's basically the biggest part of the problem is media paints Pro 2A and law-abiding CCW permit holders as criminals, for lack of a better term. If we're the real criminals, then why are groups like Antifa and NFAC and BLM out there, stirring up trouble, and then other groups like that following in suit? But yet we're the problem.
Yeah, it's one of those things that has bothered me for a while. It's like I went through all the proper training and everything like that to be able to have the right licenses and stuff like that to do what I need to do to be able to feel like I can protect myself and my family. And I'm not out here causing harm or problems for anyone. And like we said in an earlier podcast, it was, that when I have that firearm on me and I'm out in public, I have to hold myself to a way higher standard. And I can't be out here causing problems because the second anything goes the wrong way and the police get involved, whatever charges that I would have gotten for just the normal bad actions that cause the police to show up have now been magnified by the fact that I have a firearm. So I'm not intentionally going out here trying to cause problems. If anything, having a gun on me is deterring me from making any stupid decision because I don't want that problem.
Right.
Exactly. Just end off the topic, and then we can move on. What a fucked up world we're living in where, we actually have to take a stand and defend our side of it, yet we're doing it peacefully. I don't think either one of us three are going to wind up on the news being out in the street popping off some freedom rounds at people.
No,
Right.
Absolutely not. Like, I've got a family. I'm not going to go and do anything stupid.
I do want to quickly throw this in to end off my portion of it. I forget which group it was, but I remember it was a couple weeks back they're comparing themselves to a Mr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that just got my blood boiling. Martin Luther King Jr. was not only a large proponent for the Second Amendment, but he was a large proponent for actual peaceful protesting. That's what made his movement so powerful, is he banded this entire community together to peacefully protest and voice their reason. He wasn't going out burning down buildings and firebombing cars.
No, he wasn't. You know what I mean? And, just to end off this part of it, my last little 2 cents on it. Back in those times, KKK were hanging people. There was lynch mobs and everything else. How did the protests combat that? They gathered together primarily in a lot more peaceful situations, and they stood there and they chanted and they were peaceful about it. They weren't attacking situations that, the way that they are now. And I don't think any of us agree with KKK lynching people or anything like that. That's, unjustified. There's no reason for any of that. And to do that based solely off of someone's skin color is ridiculous. Because like you said, we all bleed red. And, it's one of those things where I don't understand how we've gotten to this point in modern day society.
Yeah, I don't either myself, brother.
All right, we'll move on to the next topic here, and this is the one that I had told you guys I was going to leave out until it popped up on the screen because I want super authentic answers. Here we go.
I love it.
Type of ammo for different scenarios, right? So when we talk about type of ammo for different scenarios, we have range ammo or ball ammo, and then home defense. I think there's a lot of people out there who don't know, especially first-time gun buyers, go buy a gun, and then they buy their target shooting ball ammo, load their guns with it, and now they're going to try to use that for home defense. Will it work? Yes. But what's the biggest thing when it comes to home defense? That's a positive identification, right? Knowing what your target is at all times. Not only do you need to know what's in front of you, you need to positively identify your target, and you also need to know what's beyond your target, right? So like for me, for example, every single firearm that I carry or, keep in the house to where it's not locked up in a safe or something, but, the actual home defense weapons that I have are all chambered in 9mm. I did that specifically because that caliber for me, and it's hollow point. Hollow point just means that it's going to mushroom upon impact, less likely to overpenetrate, and less lethal if it goes through one. More than likely, not going to be fatal to a second, unless they're like hugging or something, where that could be potentially dangerous. But so I have my pistols all caliber 9mm, chambered in 9mm. Hollow point, and then I have my AR-15 pistol that's in 9mm. When that's at home or in my vehicle with me, it's hollow points at all times. The only time do I ever put ball ammo into anything is on the range.
And specifically talking about home defense, I've had a couple people come up to me saying, "Hey Griff, I live in an apartment. What do I use?" And the ammo type that most people I found forget about is frangible ammo. Compressed metal powder. Because at least that has a very high likelihood of just dispersing into a cloud of dust when it hits drywall. It's not going to go through the apartment wall and kill your neighbor's dog.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, speaking of hollow points, another good home defense and personal defense ammo is the HST round. And I am pretty sure Griff was probably going to talk about that too, because, it's definitely something that you want to think about. Like you said, and you want to know what your target is and what's beyond it. You don't necessarily want to send a ball around through your target unless you have a hardened backstop behind said target, right, like a concrete wall.
Yeah, personally, I carry a Lehigh Defense Hero in 9mm, 70 grains, monolithic copper, and that thing has such a deep hollow point I can use it as a shot glass. And people get at me saying, "Dude, it costs $2 a round." Well, at the end of the day, isn't you carry ammo just in our life insurance policy? I want the best insurance policy money can buy.
Yep.
Right. I carry my pistol that I carry is a SIG P365, the SAS. Mm-hmm. So the SIG anti-snag, which I don't recommend anybody buying that pistol. I thought I was going to like it because of the embedded sights and the ported barrel, and everything's supposed to be real slick to where it doesn't snag on anything. And I'll tell you what, I can be accurate with it. You know what I mean? Looking down it's called a bullseye sight that's on the back. I can hit my target. But if I'm trying to be pinpoint accurate, I just cannot do it. and it's because of the sights. There's no front post on the SAS. It's literally an embedded sight in the slide. So if you're a SIG carrier, or are you looking at it right now?
Yeah, I am. That is
matter of fact,
weird.
Let me pull that up. Wow, what did you say it was? I know SIG.
P365 SAS.
Well, I'm on the other side of the fence. I carry a Hellcat with a red dot. So,
Exactly.
man.
See, and that's awesome. I'm completely with that. I have a Streamlight T6 light laser on my 365 as well, and I'm carrying 155 grain hollow points.
Yep.
I use Critical Defense, the Hornady round, right?
Always a good choice.
Same thing that the officers out here use.
Yeah, just got done looking at that myself. Owie.
It's a fun gun, don't get me wrong. It's actually really nice. It's very slim, so I don't know if you've held a Glock 43X or like a Glock 19. It's smaller in platform. It's a single stack, so it's thinner, smaller, but it holds more rounds and it's lighter weight. So the magazine they have proprietary for their pistols, it starts at the top, like the mouth where it feeds the round into the gun, is single stack, and then it drops down into a double stack. So literally I can carry 12 rounds in a magazine that's smaller than my Glock 43X and still have one in the pipe. So a total of 13 rounds.
Okay.
It's fantastic. I love the pistol, don't get me wrong. Stippling's really good on it. It's very accurate, for its capabilities. If it had the front post and like a Romeo 1 red dot on it or something, like a regular standard P365, that would be like my ultimate carry right there. Besides, like, I like my Glock 43X. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I had it Cerakoted, so it's not something that I would carry just because it's too flashy, and it would definitely stand out if anybody saw it.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is overall you love the gun. You just wish the sights were better.
Yeah, and you can't take out that drop-in sight on it either. I thought about it. I was going to switch to a Romeo 1, but the base plate for it isn't there. Like, there is no convertibility. Or another good carry gun that I would recommend is the P320 platform, because they have the X carry, they have the X compact, and what's nice about that is you could literally take the whole trigger mechanism completely out, put it in a different frame. You can run a different slide. It's still got full-size capacity like magazines, so you can carry 16 rounds, but you have more versatility with it. And I kind of, I'm going to end up picking up one of those at some point. But for small, compact, and I'm a bigger guy. We talked about, I think it was yesterday, about, I forgot which one of you guys said it, somebody concealed carrying and it was printing through their clothes. Like, no, that's just as bad as open carrying, in my opinion. Because anybody
that would have been me that said that.
Even the criminals, if they know about a gun and they're scoping out an area or a person, they're going to look at your waistline, right? Every time I'm going to look at your waistline. And I catch myself doing it all the time, because one of the big things that they teach in these classes is situational awareness, right? So when I walk into a place, I'm scanning hips. And why am I doing that? Because I want to see who's got something and who doesn't. Or, if they conceal it properly, then I have no idea which is the right way to do it to begin with.
Exactly. Less obvious you make it, chances are is you're going to have a higher percentage rate of getting out of a sticky situation versus the guy who is obviously packing heat.
Absolutely. And I'm going to quote Griff here for a second, because he said something on a different podcast. This is before he got into the live stream, actual audio with us on the live streams. And what he had said was, I want to be the most unnoticed person around. I don't want you to notice me. If I get noticed, that's a problem, because that means I've done something to draw people's attention. Just because I'm carrying a gun doesn't mean I need to be the center of attention. If anything, like he said, I want to be the farthest away from that attention as possible to not only keep myself safe, but my family and everybody else around me.
Exactly.
That reminds me of a video I watched from Warrior Poet Society. And the video was titled Most Dangerous Man in the Room. Where John Lovell talks about his experience talking to a man, I believe he said he was in his 50s or 60s. He looked like he could go out and teach a college philosophy class. Wouldn't hurt a fly. Come to find out, guys like a 5th or 6th Dan black belt and would just completely wipe the mat with you.
Right.
Be that type of guy.
Yeah, exactly. The less you make yourself this big old flashy sign of what you think is awesomeness goes, the better off you are.
Exactly. And this is one thing. It took me a while to learn this, but I think it's good for our younger listeners. Obviously, we're more geared towards the 18 and up crowd, but even the young 21, 22-year-old adrenaline-filled, testosterone-filled kids out there, right? It's driving around, even your vehicle, right? So I've got gun stickers on my truck. I got my Magpul and SIG and different stickers on them, but they're in lower positioned spots. They're not super visible. They're there, but they're not overbearing. Now, when I was younger, my whole back window, you couldn't see through it from the inside because of how many gun stickers and stuff that I had on it. And what did I realize by doing that? I got pulled over a lot. I was dealing with the police more. Even if I wasn't speeding, I had gotten pulled over and, oh, you're speeding, da-da-da. And then, they did that just to run my information and go, okay, you know what, never mind, whatever. This is just a warning, slow down. And I know damn well I wasn't speeding. I use cruise control even in the city. If I know, if I can hit every green light, why not be on cruise control? I save gas. So you're not going to tell me that I was speeding, but they were checking me, and police aren't supposed to be able to do that unless they have crimes. But we're not naive. We know that the police are stopping people and doing random checks because they just want to know. But
want to fill a quota.
You need to be flashy, right? Take the stickers off. Keep a couple. Make them small. Make them in low corners, like close to the bed of the truck, to where it's not super visible unless you're right up on my ass. And at that point, you should back off anyways because you might get brake checked. But the biggest thing, and I see memes of this all the time, you don't have problems with cops if you don't do dumb shit. Right. Don't do dumb shit, problems don't come your way.
Hey, you might as well have been walking around with a light. Hey, look at me. Look at me.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's crazy, but type of ammo for different scenarios. You've got hollow points for home defense. You've got ball ammo for target, shotguns. You've got birdshot, buckshot, slugs, dragon fires or dragon's breath, whatever you like to call them, which has got, a little magnesium in it. There's different rounds for different purposes. Before you go and buy a gun, research it. Learn the calibers, learn what they are. Like, I know, for example, some people look at a 380 and say, oh, no, that's not a good gun. Da, 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 da. It's not going to be something that I want to carry because it doesn't have enough stopping power. And I sit there and look at them and go, have you ever looked at a 380 and a 9mm sitting next to each other? It's a 9mm. It's just shorter. The casing's shorter. It's
that's why overseas they just call it the 9mm Kurtz. That's German for short.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that too. That's a good point that you just brought up. You have Luger and different rounds. You got to know what your firearm's capable of shooting. And then there's brass and steel, and I don't ever recommend steel.
Or my favorite example is always husband tells the wife that while she's out shopping, pick him up a box of 12-gauge shells. and she brings home a box of 12 gauge 3-inch. Well, just so happens all of his shotguns are chambered for 2 3/4.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's 100% correct. You have short shells, you have high shells, and then the actual like primer part. You got high rim and low rim, and it's very important to learn your rounds. So I know there's some people out there. I'm not going to name names, but if you're watching this from Facebook, you know who you are. That like to use their 22 rifles to take out blackbirds that are shitting in their backyards and creating big messes. They make a bird shot 22 round. It's like a shotgun shell. It's got tiny ass little pellets in it. And it's literally a bird shot 22 round. They're actually pretty badass. But the nice thing is you can use it in your backyard. Yes, it's a pop. Obviously, only shoot something that's in your backyard. But the best part about that, because here's the thing that I think people forget. Bullets travel, right? So just because it comes up, it's got to come down somewhere. That birdshot 22 shell, maybe you're getting about 25 feet where damage can be done from the tiny little pellets. And then anything after that, it's like you kind of got sand tossed on you, right? So it's knowing your situation and your surroundings is going to determine the ammo.
Yeah, and just to help out the person you're referring to, Wes is talking about CCI shot shells for standard cartridges. Comes in a little white box, clear cover, says CCI on a big old dark blue sticker.
Yes, it does. And they're actually pretty awesome. I've had my fair share of shooting them.
Yep, I used to use them for squirreling myself.
Yep, they have snake shot too for a 38 and for 357 revolvers too.
Hey, that'd be great for down there in the desert.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, I didn't even know that was a thing until I just researched that now. But it's like I said, just being situationally aware. Now, we're talking types of ammunition, right? So now I'm going to throw a round out there and see what you guys think about. So 5.56 green tip.
Well, obviously, me being prior service, I've dealt a lot with the green tip. I've also dealt a lot with the tracer rounds and then the ball. So out of all three of the rounds that I just mentioned, the green tip's nice, but if I had to choose one, I'd be green tip and then the tracer round every like fourth, just so, especially during night fire, I can see where my rounds are going.
Griff?
Well, in my opinion, unless you're trying to go for some long range accuracy with your 5.56, where the 62 grain projectile would really benefit you, the only other place where green tip would really fit in well would be in anti-personnel characteristics, where over-penetration is not an issue. And that's like where Jax was talking about, where time in service, when you're engaging enemy combatants, that's great. For someone on the civilian side, on the other hand, unless we're talking the boogaloo type of stuff, it really has no practical use in civilian life.
Absolutely. I've got, I'd say 200 rounds of green tip. I like to use those out on the range for tannerite. And that's realistically about it, just because I know it's going to hit and it's going to make the explosion that I want. But even then, like green tip is not the armor piercing round that most people think that it is, right? They say green tip, they think armor piercing, like it's going to rip through a level 3A plus, steel plate. It's not going to happen, right? Definitely
like level 2 Kevlar would go through like butter, but virtually any type of steel plate or any plate that's mass manufactured on the market now We'll stop it, no problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly.
Speaking of that, Botac.com, not endorsed by them, don't have any sponsorships by them. They sell a flexible, like Kevlar based body armor plates. They sell them in shooters cut, swimmers cut, and just your standard like rectangle and or square flex plates. The level 3A plates that they have, I literally watched, and this is something that me and Jax talked about. I watched a dude shoot a Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum at this level 3A plate, and it did not penetrate it. So they make good plates. They're fairly cheap. They're about $45 a piece. You can get vests on there, like this was in a real early podcast. This is like when we first started. I have my badass, plate carrier. My daughter's got a pretty cool plate carrier. And then I have a couple of other plate carriers that were $15. You can find them on their website. There's no molly webbing or anything like that. It's literally just a plate carrier vest. You watch police TV shows or anything like that, you'll see they'll just take a vest and throw it on somebody that they're trying to move out quickly, like a high-value target or something like that. They're trying to get them out of a situation. They're just going to throw a vest on them. That's basically what those vests for me are for, is, I've got people with me. I need to keep them safe, put them all together. So you figure $45 for a front plate, $45 for a back plate, and $15 for the carrier itself. You're about $100 a vest. And if you had enough of those, you could take care of your family pretty well in any type of, dangerous situation. I mean, obviously you got helmets and things like that you can get into, but the likelihood of, and that's for your Call of Duty shooters out there. Good luck getting headshots in real life on a moving target. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not going to happen. I'll tell you firsthand, it's not going to happen.
It's center mass. That's where you aim. You get a headshot. People say that they did it on purpose. Bullshit. You were aiming center mass and got lucky, is what we'd call it, right? Unless you're like a sniper and your target's not moving.
Yeah, and usually in situations like that where headshots actually, if you're shooting just a standard 5.56 and it's a headshot, you're either at point blank range out on the battlefield and you're sneaking up behind the guy and just want to be a dick.
Right.
Or B,
And
it ricocheted off of something and bounced. So yes, that goes back to the luck factor.
And I'm on the site right now, and they're currently running a 10% off Labor Day sale.
Oh, yep, I'm on the site too.
Yeah, using the promo code Trump2020 at checkout.
Trump 2020. That's good. That's going to spark some fun conversations that I'm going to have here in the future.
I'm just broadcasting information that this company's putting out.
Right, exactly. So I think we're going to wrap this one up. I know we've all got work pretty early in the morning tomorrow. I want to thank you guys for coming on, and I want to say thank you to Jax for having me on the Anchor podcast. Same with you, Griff. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, brother. It's always a pleasure.
And I'll catch you guys later.